Let me take you through the few other things which we commonly see in our country: heart cataracts, compromised endothelium. How do we go about these patients? So these are various situations where we do have either compromised endothelium or we do compromise endothelium during surgery or subsequently. Especially, I would like to tell you something on heart cataract or Fuchs endothelial dystrophy, corneal opacity. Dr. Namrata did deal about this, how to do exercise in those cases. I think the first important thing in any case who are undergoing phacoemulsion surgery is to do a clear examination to see the density of nucleus, because hardness of the nucleus is going to change your surgical parameters. Second, to look for endothelial status, that is clarity of cornea, and if you're going to do a specular reflection, that will tell you something on endothelial health of the patient. Then pupillary dilatation, rule out any granular problems. I think these are few things which are very important for a heart cataracts. Apart from that, examining the other eye is also very important. Sometimes you have so many clues which may be giving you in terms of a very poor pseudophakia, aphakic eyes, multiple surgeries would give you a guideline for other eye status, because sometimes the cataract may be so advanced you may not be able to see the posterior capsule. I think any heart cataract, compromised endothelium, I think the endothelial protection is the way. This is a soft shell technique. First, dispersive viscoelastic is put. Then subsequently use a cohesive viscoelastic to push this dispersive viscoelastic towards the endothelium so that it coats the endothelium throughout your surgery. The important thing is to retain the viscoelastic cover till the end of surgery, and that is only possible if you push this viscoelastic towards the endothelium and coats the endothelium. Though it will take slightly more time for irrigation aspiration to remove viscoelastic, but even you leave some viscoelastic, it hardly makes any difference in terms of IOP, because this is a dispersive viscoelastic. This is a study by Dorata et al. Showing that use of soft shell technique does decrease the endothelial cell damage in compromised situation like Fuchs endothelial dystrophy. In terms of surgical pulse in these cases, once you have a heart cataract and associated with endothelial poor endothelium, these patients, again I said, dispersive viscoelastics would be used, and make a soft shell technique in terms of making a space for initial trenching in these cases, and subsequently once you get a deep trenching, then you can divide into multiple chops. The space in the central is very, very important. That's why I normally say I go deep, make a trench. If not trench, then make a crater sometimes if the nucleus is big and hard. So once debulk the central hard core area, you are left with a peripheral relatively thinner or relatively softer nucleus which can be chopped in a relatively easy fashion. So once you chop the entire pattern, you can see here now subsequently, once you release the central attachment of pieces, subsequent emulsification becomes simpler in heart cataracts also. So this particular step of trenching and crater is basically making the central core less softer and making peripheral area to get chopping easier. And you are working at depth. It's important to work in the depth and make sure your tip is always in the central part of the cornea, because that is AC, that is a maximum distance from the posterior and anterior part, that is endothelium to posterior capsule. So those things should be taken into consideration working in a fashion. Sometimes in a relatively harder cataract, you are left with a central disc, like in this particular case. You can see I'm doing a peripheral chop. You are left with a central small disc. Don't worry about that. Normally, I would complete my chopping, around 8 chopping these patients. Towards the end, release this central disc, and this harder disc can be chopped and multiple pieces, and you can emulsify this right in the center. So don't worry about a central disc attachment sometimes. That comes out very easily in heart cataracts. It's not like a soft cataract where there's no disc, but it's very difficult to take out the entire core. This is how you manage the central part of the hard nucleus. The other thing which I would like to stress is how to get to the depth. This is a relatively hard cataract. Multi-hold and multi-separation, multi-depth separation is the key for getting separation. If you see my left hand, the major stress is the left hand. Because it has a chopper, lighter one, less pressure onto the genular structure. You can see this is the hand which will be working much more rather than this hand is more stable. So that is what you get a better stable chopping in your patient. Once you have a chop, the subsequent emulsification easier. So that is what heart cataract would require, especially leathery cataracts. The third important aspect of heart cataract management is the wound management, because you require a long phacoemulsification. Therefore, you can have chopping difficulties and you can get into a wound burn in these cases. So I would say first thing is always choose a blade or your keratome, and the sizing of keratome related to a tip and sleeve. The coordination should be absolutely perfect. Never go for different tips and different sleeves for different sizes of a wound. So this mismatch should not occur, otherwise you're going to have a difficulty. So always look for matching the incision size. This is 2.2 keratome, and go with the micro tip and a soft sleeve in these cases. So if you go with a hard sleeve, they're going to have too much a tight incision, and that can also cause surge in your cases. So this is how you manage, and see that wound configuration towards the end of surgery. Despite the CD is 40, the wound is relatively clear. See my handpiece, tip is absolutely parallel to the wound area. There is no distortion here. So that is what is important. If you have a distortion, again you're going to have a more irrigation to one side, less irrigation to the other side. The wound burn chances are much more. The wound configuration should be maintained towards the end, so to decrease the distortion of wound, decrease the wound closure problems, and subsequently decrease the astigmatism. See, this is the end of surgery, and it's still a relatively clear wound area, and the hydration will close this wound relatively well. So this is what we normally see. Other important thing is how to modify our parameters. Does different types of emulsification patterns change the endothelial count? Yes, this is one study. Torsional phaco, when it came in earlier in 2006-7, it did make a change. The torsional gave a lesser chances of endothelial cell loss. In fact, the first day endothelial count was better than a normal longitudinal phaco. But what about a new system like this, which is a Centurion phaco, which has come recently? This is a slow motion emulsification of phaco I'm showing. This is half a speed of routine phaco. See this tip. It is into the nucleus piece. You can separate this, and with each emulsification, despite having a high vacuum and higher flow rate, there is no fluctuation antechamber. That is because you have preset intraocular pressure for your surgery. That is regulated by active fluidics, not gravity fluidics, and there is a balanced energy. That means both for a foot pedal 2 and 3, you can change your aspiration and flow rate and vacuum. So that is a new advantage of newer systems. Maybe these newer systems are beneficial for compromised cases. This is what looks like a patient with a Fuchs endothelial dystrophy, very less endothelial cell count, but a good post-op results. This is a summarized picture of how do we deal with a patient with a Fuchs endothelial dystrophy. Basically, it depends on a corneal thickness, epithelial changes, and cell count. If your corneal thickness is much more than 650, many people would like to do a triple procedure. But as a cataract surgeon, many people would like to do cataract surgery first and see how a patient behaves. And use of femtosecond, you all know, would be a relatively new thing for most of us, but it does provide a comfort zone for us because it gives a pre-rexis. Incisions are well made to a peripheral area as you desire, and subsequently phaco can be done in a different mode. This is a chop pattern, and you can complete the entire phaco in a very significantly less time. Use a very less CDE. You can see hardly less than 10 CDE for this patient, which will be definitely beneficial for cases with the compromised endothelium. If you look into this particular study by Nagy et al., it shows the decrease of effective average phaco power by 50%. So that is what we want to achieve for all cases of heart cataract and compromised endothelium. And effective phaco time is also less by 43%. If you can achieve these things by phaco with assisted femtosecond application, yes, this should be used for these patients. In fact, Takas showed that if you have a corneal thickness measurement in these patients, definitely with femto assisted, the thickness is less than a patient with routine phacoemulsifications. So I would say combined procedure can be done in those patients where your corneal thickness is much more than 650, cell count less than 1000, and a patient with visual symptoms. You can always do a combined phaco DSEC in these patients. You can see this is a patient of Fuchs. I have done phaco in this patient. Subsequently, I'll score the Descemet's membrane after implantation IOL. This is a Descemet scoring, and implant the lenticule, which is taken from the donor patient with a healthy endothelial count. Pull it inside, and then inflate with the air bubble. Keep the bubble for 10 minutes, and that's ends the surgery. And this is what patient looks like in a subsequent phase of time. Sometimes you do phaco, it fails. You can still do a DSEK subsequently. Endothelium doesn't recover in these cases. So in looking to evidence, it says if you have a Fuchs patient with cataract, patient has more than 640 micron thickness, there are 20% chances patient may require a corneal keratoplasty subsequently. While if 640 or less chances of keratoplasty requirement. Therefore, 640 may be the cutoff. But go with the advice, not with the thickness only. It is the endothelial picture of the patient and the visual symptom of the patient. If patient has an early morning blur, doesn't recover for a long time, yes, you might think of a triple procedure. And to summarize, if you have an endothelial compromised situation, hard cataract, always look for endothelial protection, counseling a patient for a repeat surgery sometimes, especially keratoplasty, and looking for a flex if you have femtoassisted surgery, maybe that's a beneficial. Thank you for kind listening.